No?
No, I mean, here. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Let me start that back up because
Oh,
it says it wasn't working, and
oh,
now
weird.
it's working, clearly working.
Yeah,
So, let's start the show. I mean, do we want to sit through the whole thing? Yeah, let's sit through
yeah.
the whole thing. All right. I wish there was a way I could like dump out the opening part
Random
where it's
knife in
like,
this room.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Let's.
Welcome to Invincipod, probably the best podcast about the Amazon original series Invincible on the internet that sometimes gets its intro right. I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And today we are talking about the penultimate episode of season 2 of Invincible.
Right.
I'm not
I'm
going
not going.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Uh, Ralph and I aren't going anywhere. We're both feeling a little bit sick today, but we're both
Right.
tired. We're both
I,
fading, but
I don't know
we're not
what
going
happened
anywhere.
up top. I honestly
Oh,
don't. Usually I hit live, and then you have to hit a second live button to verify, and then I pop on that video that
yeah,
gives you. It takes a while. There's like a buffer before it actually goes live, and
yeah.
this time the buffer like didn't do anything. It just said
Hmm.
scheduled. Like I don't know. I don't
Weird,
know.
weird.
So it happened last week too, but I stopped playing the video because it never went live. And then I hit
Yeah,
live, and then we
yeah.
we started. So I don't know what's going on. That'll be a YouTube exclusive. So anybody listening to this, uh, uh,
Got
head
to see
over
me
to YouTube.
stretching my shoulders out at the beginning of the show, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's usually when I take a big swig of drink, and
Yep.
it just wasn't going live, and I'm like, oh well, I guess I'll just stop the video.
We're all out of sorts, but Invincible
Yeah,
isn't. Invincible's here. Invincible's great. Um, you watched it this morning, I guess,
I
before.
watched this morning.
Yeah,
I watched it 7, so a couple hours ago,
yeah. I watched
and
it a few hours ago as well. It was good. So slow burner of an episode. I thought the beginning of this episode.
they've been doing a lot of this lately. The
Mm,
action sort of up front, even though I mean we got the Comic-Con stuff, but last week we got a lot of action front end story. This happened the same, but we did
I
get
suppose
some
you haven't got
action
all
at
the
the
wreck
end.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, sorry, it's been a week. I'm gonna collect
Oh,
my
nice.
my
Your
thing
stuff.
for that. Let's see, 1 week max time reached
Hey,
claim.
amazing.
Hey,
I'm
my
really
my
annoyed.
Omni Man.
I'm gonna have to do mine at some point and like reset it, but I'm like it's tomorrow for me. It's yeah.
Right, I can't see that. My Omni Man's exceptional plus, and he's a 200.
Damn. That's good. That's a
Yeah, and he still
strong
can't beat,
honeymoon.
still can't win at our battles.
No.
Um,
I need to get one more Eve and then I can make my Eve exceptional plus.
Great.
Yeah, should be great.
Yeah, I think right now we need to use the handcuff guys
Okay.
because
Yeah,
we're going up against the old guardians anyway.
okay. We got
That's
this.
our that's our guarding the globe talk
I
for the
still
week.
don't really know what I'm doing. I just sort of follow along with what everyone else is doing in the that stuff.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
fun.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. So this episode, yeah, I guess not a slow burn, but just again, jam packed full of character stuff.
So
Uh,
much.
so much. And it seems like uh, maybe we're have moved on from Amber finally.
I
Maybe
think so. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if we check in with her next episode, just
right.
get like the fallout. But I think that this is the conclusion of the Amber storyline proper. Is we've hit it. We've got there now. And I'm really glad that we got that scene at the beginning of them at Comic-Con. It's an adaptation of what they did in the books. In the books, there's a
Yes,
signing at the mall comic shop, and it's the whatever it's Schiff something Phil Schiff, I
Philip
think is the
Schaff.
Philip Schaff. Is essentially it's Robert Kirkman. In the books, it's drawn as
Yeah,
Kirkman.
and this
Um,
is our finally our Tim Robinson
That's I got it
voice.
right there. It was Tim
I
Robinson was
feel
right
like
there.
I feel like he's got to do more. I was expecting him to be some over the top, crazy, zany, dumb villain,
Probably
like a
will be
Lizard
still.
League
Yeah.
from the comics sort of level guy. Uh,
Uh,
so I have a feeling he may
we saw
still
it like
come around.
Tatiana Maslany is done, she's done a bunch of voices, and then like her
Right.
primary one was one of the Lizard League. So I'm sure that Tim Robinson will do more. I'm sure that he's recorded a lot
Hopefully.
more. Um, we'll see. If not, a fun little meta thing, and it sort of plays into his whole thing.
Yeah.
But the scene in the comic, the way it plays out is them talking about artists and how like, oh yeah, you know, there's been a lot of delays. Sorry, it's very meta on the comic because the comic suffered from a lot of
Yeah.
delays, and how, you know, the writers have it easy, the artists have a hard job, and sometimes when they need to just get panels done, they'll just skip it over by just repeating the same panel over and over, and the artist just gets to change the web balloons. They do that
Yeah.
version, but for animation, and they really pull it
Right.
out. And it's, for all you people that don't like the animation in this show or have criticized it, we're just gonna throw it right in you. Like we're gonna jam it in your face.
Yeah.
And it was done. It made me smile a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was definitely the version, the TV version.
Yeah.
Like it's the perfect example of how the comics differ from the
How
show.
yeah,
Uh,
it's physical, like well, not physical, but like motion to like
yeah.
printed. It's yeah.
Yeah.
And we got some really good Mark and Amber stuff in there as well. Like she's
Right.
a supportive girlfriend. She knows that this is his passion, his like hobby and everything like that. And she doesn't really care what they're doing. She just wants to spend time with him. He's
Right.
being really good and just be like, look, thank you for coming. Like, we don't have to do this all day. Like, I know that the time with each other is precious. And so, like, that's cool that we're here. And I just thought it was really sweet and nice on both of their parts. I thought it was just a good
Mm,
example of relationship stuff. It
right.
shows that they both really do want to make this work. They're both trying really hard to make this work, but
Yeah.
you can kind of see it. And I think they know that the writing's on the wall for it from last
Yeah.
week. They both knew.
Yeah. And comic readers know as well.
I mean, comic readers. Yeah, we've learned.
Unless Kirkman decides to start fiddling with stuff, I don't know. It seems like he's got a good thing going by kind of sticking with the template of the
Stick with the
of the
template and
book.
adapt and tweak and make
Yeah.
some changes, but I think the general, like, there are certain things that are like law, like LORE law, that will be stuck to.
Yeah.
Oliver
And
being
it
Oliver, Amber not being the
yeah.
permanent girlfriend, Mark and his dad having a big fight, all of that sort of stuff. Like, these are tentpole
Yeah.
moments that have to happen.
Right. Right. But I'm glad Kirkman and company are keeping the readers on their toes.
Yeah,
They're
yeah. There's
swapping
enough.
some stuff around.
There's enough that's in there that is interesting. Like, we're getting so much more, and it's the thing that people are criticizing. I've seen that they don't like. They think that it's too spread thin in terms of the characters, and that you're not getting enough time. And they start going, whenever you're spending time with Rex too much, they like get back to Mark. I'm like, but I'm loving that stuff. Like, we're getting more depth of
We're
the
getting more
people
depth
in this
from
world.
Rex.
Way more depth. This episode, I actually cared about him, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, is Rex not just a comic relief jerk anymore?
Yeah.
I felt for him. Like, I felt bad for him when he couldn't get his mojo. He couldn't like get his rods going. Literally.
Yeah.
And then he sort of found himself a little bit more, and he was getting there fighting Octobos, which is again a great comic book villain. Doesn't speak English very well. And
Right.
yeah, he like sort of makes no apologies. He's like, "Hey, I tried really hard," but it's like it's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really liking that stuff. I'm liking that as big of an asshole as Rex is, and that's what he's known for,
Oh yeah,
especially in the comics.
and he knows he is as well.
That Mark will still go help him out if he's in trouble.
And there's a mutual respect between each other, that like between them now as well. Like
Yeah.
he sort of is like, thanks for your help, buddy. Like, and he then is like, you bailed me out, and I've got your back when you need it. Like, I will cover for you if you need one. And he asks about Amber. Like, he knows that Mark is in this relationship,
Yeah.
and he knows what that's like. Yeah, I think he's an asshole. He knows he's an asshole. He knows he's not going to really change from being an asshole, but he knows that not everyone should be like him. He's not like he's being like, no, fuck it, just be a dick. Doesn't matter what you do. You're a superhero. He's like, okay, cool. Like, good for you for being a bit more aspirational than me.
Yeah. I like
And
that.
He's got a new toy. He's got like a wrist launcher.
Yeah, in his robot hand.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's able to whatever's in there
Yeah.
is able to take his energy and focus it into a beam, which is pretty cool. I don't remember that being in the book.
No, I don't either.
There was a moment that I thought was interesting where Rex mentions how lucky Mark is to be able to regenerate teeth. And it just shows you that, Rex does have super abilities, but he's not invincible. He has to have like false teeth put in.
That's
like
it.
a
Like, I
hockey
mean,
player.
you got to think like almost all of these guys, like they are so plastic surgery. Like they are so reconstructed because they all get the shit beaten out of them at some point or another. Like, and it's only your Marks and your Eves who can regenerate and just grow that stuff back naturally.
Right.
I don't think everyone else can. Maybe the Immortal, but we don't really, like, other than being immortal, we don't really know what his powers are.
Do they fuse his head back onto his body?
I think
Or do they fuse his head on a Reaniman body?
Ooh, I don't know that. I've always assumed it was his body. Like, it's just, I don't know. He's just sort of put them next to each other and they'll sort of mesh back together. A bit Deadpool-y. Yeah. We get a really good scene in the Guardians HQ when Rex is like, yeah, we're still the greatest superhero team. And then we cut back and we see that they're really not at this point. Like they're on the back foot. Rudy's trying to get a mech suit for Monster Girl because he's looking after her and trying to he's got good intentions, but he's still pretty toxic. Like the way he's going about it and his whole "I'm trying to fix you" line is like it's right there. It's like, fuck you, dude. I'm not broken. Like,
it's Jack Shepherd
100%
trying to do everything for everybody.
Big Jack Shepherd energy. And it's not cool.
No, it's not. And Black Samson and Bulletproof have a discussion.
I really like that.
Yeah, about how the team is broken.
Yeah. They run through everyone, like, and they're just like, we are not great at the moment. It's good. It's the most bulletproof that we've had, I think, so far. And Black Samson sort of turns and is like, look, new guy, you'll get it, you'll figure it out, but kind of you need that, maybe the outside perspective to keep them all in check.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm interested to see how far they'll take the bulletproof story.
I think now that we got more of him this episode, I think they could do it. They could do the thing that we're thinking of with him. We'll see. I think that very much depends on how many seasons they go.
Right.
Because they seem to be tightening up a lot of things that would have taken months and like in story time, years in story time, they seem to be doing in weeks, maybe a month in TV show time.
And this week they reiterated how quick Oliver is growing up.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I'm assuming start of season 3, he's teenager with the costume. That's my guess.
So. Yeah, I think so. I wildly predicted it for end of this season, but I don't think we're going to be there yet.
Right. Because I mean, we only have one more episode.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like there's going to be a time jump between this and the next episode.
No, there can't be. Yeah. Does Principal Winslow become the dean?
I
in the
think
comics?
I think he does. That rung true to me. Just
Okay.
it's Dean Winslow now. Like I just remember that, and it
Yeah.
was just one of those like it's such a Saved by the Bell type thing, isn't it? It's just like
Yeah, but
we've got this
yeah,
cast member, and we just like, oh, well, everyone's grown up, we're moving on, but also so are the faculty. Like
that's
it,
kind of what I that's kind of what I like about the show is it's like it has the ability to be like, hey, we're just a comic book show, you
yeah,
know. It's just a
mm,
comic book, so you kind of get a little bit of a pass when it comes to things like that. Like there's no way that a principal of a high school would go on to become a dean of a college. Like it would never happen.
no, but
Um
it happens on TV all the time. Like it's
yeah,
that sort of thing. Like
yeah.
especially the sort of. I mean, again, we've mentioned it early on. I don't think we've mentioned it recently, but all the trade paperbacks of this series, as they were coming out, were named for sitcoms. So
Mhm.
you had
Yeah.
Three's Company, Family Ties,
My favorite Martian.
My Favorite Martian.
Yeah.
Like they were all of them up until I think the Invincible War was the first one where they broke that. So you've got like 18, 19 trades worth of like this comic, and they are all like every single one is named for a different sitcom. It's really cleverly done. Because
Yeah.
they always seem to tie to what's going on in the
Right.
books as
Like
well.
Family Ties is the Nolan turn.
Yeah, My
Uh
Favorite Martian's when Alan's introduced.
yeah.
It's there's loads of good stuff like that. Yeah, Jeremy Kelly says they need him. That's where I was going with it as well. It's very Boy Meets World. Um,
Oh yeah.
and it's it's like it's great to see some of those sitcom things translate through, even though they're not like sticking to that, but there is still that
Yeah.
element to it.
Yeah.
Um,
But it is one of those things where they can get away with stuff. Like you
yeah,
can just be like, "Oh, that would never happen," but it's a comic book. Uh,
none of this
so
would
it's
ever
like,
happen. It's a
but
great
it's
gag.
I know it's so funny how like when I first started reading Invincible, uh, it felt just like a comic book, and then the Nolan's turn, and then the blood and the violence and stuff. You're like, oh, it's almost like a disguise. Like
Yeah,
it's pretending it's a comic book, but it's doing like so much more character stuff and the action is different and the subject matters are get heavier and heavier. But if they want to do something dumb, like have a whole section devoted to breaking the fourth wall as far as like or
the
doing a meta
comics and
thing where it's like the
yeah,
comics or the
not
TV
showing
show
mouths
animation.
moving and
It's
yeah.
like they can get away with it because it's a comic. Like I can see Kirkman talking. Kirkman, I feel like can talk about Invincible very seriously,
Mhm.
but talk about it as if it's just dumb entertainment.
Yeah.
So if anybody like gives him shit about something, he'll just be like, "Oh, it's a comic.
It's
You
a
know what are you
comic,
gonna
like,
do?"
shut
But
up, yeah.
he can have
There's a
there's some
robot called
subject matters
Robot in it,
coming up.
like, get over
Yeah, yeah.
it.
It's I like that it kind of is able to play off of that
Mhm.
the comic bookness of it and just be like, you know what, fuck it. Like we don't want to create a new Dean. We don't why have to come up with a whole new character if we
For,
can
like,
just
maybe 2 scenes that he'll ever
yeah
have, like, it doesn't matter.
yeah
He's not a, like, relevant character. It's a
and
fun gag that we had Reginald Vell Johnson play the principal of Reginald Vell Johnson High School,
high school
and
yeah
now he's
Mr.
yeah,
Winslow.
now he's the dean.
That was my favorite casting because when I read the book, it is in the book. It's Reginald
He's
Bell
drawn like
Johnson
that,
High
yeah,
School. I'm like, all right, sure. And then it's Mr. Winslow's the principal. And then when they announced that Reginald Bell Johnson was doing the voice, I was like, oh my god, they actually did it.
perfect. Yeah,
I'm like, okay,
perfect.
I guess we're gonna have to suspend more disbelief or whatever. I don't know. Like, it
Like,
makes
who
no sense.
no,
It
that's it.
makes
Like,
no
it's
sense
like,
within the book.
is Reginald Vale Johnson a historical figure in the history of this show, or is it just they named it after the actor and this guy just
I
happens to
don't
sound
know.
and look like him? Like, it doesn't matter. None of it
Right.
matters, and it's great that it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Um, Rick
Because it's a
is
comic.
exactly because it's a comic, and this is
Yeah.
still a comic, even though we're watching it on
Yeah.
Amazon. Um, Rick is having nightmares. Rick is not having a good time as Rihanna Rick.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's seeing DA Sinclair. We got quite a bit of DA. Well, I say quite a bit. We're getting more DA Sinclair in this episode, and I feel like we're building to some stuff.
Right, and I mean, they're clearly working to get the Reaniman taken care of. We've seen what 3 can do to Mark.
Yeah,
So and then at the end of season 1, we saw like
a room
a
full.
whole army of them.
Yeah,
Is DA
but none of them are
Sinclair
red.
still voiced by Ezra Miller?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't
It
look.
sounded like them, but I couldn't tell.
Maybe.
I mean, I guess they're trying to be better. I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a character
No,
on the
no.
show.
If it is, I would have thought that they probably recorded it a while ago.
Right.
Who knows? I
No idea.
completely forgot that it was Ezra Miller in the first place. So
Yeah.
I just try and ignore them in general.
But yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder if they, because I watched the show super closely.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief.
Yep. Yeah.
As soon as D. Sinclair showed up, I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's somebody else. I wonder if they got somebody else.
Yeah.
But it sounded just like them, so I don't know.
Voice actors are really good though. So
yeah,
that doesn't mean that it's them.
I don't really care about them. I'll look it up. So, but we can keep still talking.
So everyone's quitting. Well, all the Reanimen are wanting to quit, and like whether that's quitting their job or quitting living anymore. Because Rick's not in a good place, and neither's Donald. Donald he wants to quit. Cecil won't let him, and I thought it was really interesting that William,
or not Omni-Man, Immortal.
Immortal's quitting as well. Like this is just everyone's having a bad time, and they are just saying, "No, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm out."
Right.
I thought it was really cool and really interesting that William would call Donald though in that situation because he knows what's up. Basically, he knows that he's someone who knows and might be able to relate and talk him down. He did try and call Mark, but Mark is like on date night and isn't answering his phone or anything. So,
right.
I honestly, I think Donald's probably better in that situation than Mark would have been able to be. So,
right.
I guess with Mark, you'd have just had the speed to whip round and pull him off the ledge. But that's not going to fix anything. It's just, Donald was able to actually talk him down and say, like, look, we're both in this situation. And he finds out that he's done this 39 times and he's 98% machine at this point. But he's still him. And that's something to cling on to and something worth living for.
Yeah, it was a great scene. And again, it's something that we're seeing way more than we saw in the book as far as Rick. Rick wasn't barely a character.
Yeah,
he was back, the Donald stuff, I really like the Donald stuff. The fact that he's the one that sort of put this in motion.
Yeah.
How he was the one that, however many 39 deaths ago, came up with this sort of contingency plan of like taking his brain and putting it in like a robot, essentially going from like a human to a cyborg to almost a full-blown robot to the point where it's like just his brain. I don't think Rick is a complete robot because he's doing an awful lot of crying. I don't know if robots would produce tears.
It depends on the robot. Depends on
I guess.
Maybe.
I guess so. But Donald going through the deaths.
So that's really interesting. They're always him like rushing in to save someone. Like or doing the noble thing. It shows the type of person that he is. He's always going to be that guy who doesn't give up in a desperate situation. He's always going to try to save as many people as he can, which I liked.
But it is so weird to me that, again, why put all this effort into Rick?
Yeah. It's I don't know
strange.
where, we've said it in the past, like after the Amber stuff resolves, like Rick pops up now and then, and Rick and William pop up every now and then, occasionally, but they do take a big step back in terms of screen
Yeah.
presence, and they're not the focus. So it is interesting that they're still dedicated. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. Even I'm
No.
enjoying the fact that they're giving them this time, but it makes you
And
go
it's all
with
news. It's a new storyline for
yeah.
us,
Yeah, they're
longtime
giving them
Invincible fans.
more than they
Yeah.
got in the books, and so it makes you
Yeah.
think, are they gonna continue to give them more, or are they giving you this so that you don't feel like, "Oh, where are those guys?" It's like, no, they're full characters, they're living lives, they've got their own lives, they
Yeah.
just maybe won't be on screen.
Yeah. Huh. It's interesting. I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Clearly next week, Engstrom Levy's going to be around,
Mhm.
and D.A. Sinclair and Cecil are look
Yeah.
Cecil are
Yeah.
looking for to get that project done. You know,
Yeah, like, DA's not happy
or
about it, like
impending. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, but they wanna get Reaniman out there fighting, like
and I'm curious. I really am curious to see if like if Rick gets activated, if
uh,
Donald gets activated, if
yeah.
the two people that Eve kind of didn't help on the bridge,
Oh, yeah.
maybe because we thought they were goners, and then later someone just told her, "Oh, those two, oh Rex, I think told her, oh those two people are okay." It's like, are there
It's just
Reanimen
taking
out
people.
there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
and making
Um,
them like what are those, the
sleeper
secret
agents.
cell sleeper cells? Yeah, sleeper
Yeah.
agents. I don't know, but
Yeah, I mean, it's
it's
the sort of
weirdly a
shit
lot of
you could
time.
and you could see Cecil doing that. It's just sort of activating
Yeah,
people. It's like, "We need them now." Like, we put them back together. This is the price that they have to pay is being activated in desperate times.
yeah, I don't know
So
why.
no, it's I mean, it's pretty dark, but it's yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it
I
past
don't
him.
know. I don't know.
I like
It's
that
fun to
Donald
be able to
isn't wiping his
speculate.
memory now, though. Donald's like, "No, I'm gonna
Yeah,
I've done that 39 times. This is not how I wanna do it this time round. Like, I
yeah.
wanna live it." Um, he doesn't like the fact that he's done this, but he also
He
does
sees the value.
he sees the value, and he realizes that this was him that started that side of it. So,
Yeah,
yeah, there's gotta be
he
something
can't.
in
Yeah, he can't be mad at Cecil. D.A. Sinclair has been recast by Eric Bauza,
okay,
Bauza.
cool.
So did a pretty good job
Yep, just absolutely just
sounding like
imitated the
D.A.
job.
Sinclair.
I didn't notice any difference. So
Yeah,
great. That's fine. That's good. Um,
cool.
yeah. Debbie is definitely bouncing back. She's got a new lease on life here. She's her colleague is flirting with
Hearing
her a little bit, inviting her out, and she's receptive to it. She's bounced back a lot since the beginning of this season, and it's good.
right.
That's nice. You like to see that for her at this stage. Really interesting that it kind of just took Oliver coming into her life to give her purpose again.
Yeah, and
She,
it probably reminds her of the good times of raising Mark, even though she did do most of it on her own.
yeah, she has that point home.
Yeah. Uh, and she seems to be, this is probably one of the first times you see her actually talking. I guess she did it last week too. Talking about Nolan
Yeah,
without breaking down.
yeah.
Um, I don't know if that's going to go
I
the way of the comic books, but it feels like it's going to go the way of the comic books.
I
As
think it's
far as
gonna go the way of the comics, and I think it's good that it is, and I will be interested to see how it plays out because the people that are involved and the performers that they've got involved are doing such a great job with these characters.
yeah,
Um, I hope it does. I'm excited to see that, but I think it's really interesting that she's gone from "I'll look after him, but he's not my kid" to fully being Oliver's mum, like, straight away. She's not correcting him when he calls her mama. She's saying, "Now I've got you and Oliver in my life." Like,
right.
she's adopted that kid now, and
Yeah.
that's really great, and she's clearly doing a good job parenting. He's got a good nanny in place, it seems like.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's again, it's funny how like at the beginning of the season, I'm like, how is this version of Debbie gonna
Yeah, you didn't
catch?
think
There's
that.
no way
Yeah,
she'd catch up to the comic book version where things were gonna start turning for her, but it's playing out similar to the comics, and it's
it is.
the performances and the say what you will about the pacing or whatever, but I feel like her storyline is like progressing naturally, and I feel like everybody's storylines are progressing naturally.
Mhm.
um and it's again, as much as we talk about the comics, it is nice that it's not a one for one, because I
Yeah.
still don't know what's going to happen next.
No.
Well, I
No.
kind of have a feeling,
I
but
I can
who
strongly
knows?
suspect, but there are twists and there are turns, and the
It,
fact
to the
that
point
it's
where,
staying close to it in so much in some aspects makes
yeah,
the divergences and the changes feel more surprising, because you're like
yeah.
you sort of you fall into a level of comfort when things happen, that when it changes you're like, whoa, okay, I'm caught off guard a bit.
And it's so, here's the thing: in the comics, Amber, I don't recall ever getting killed or anything.
No.
But in this episode, Anissa shows up, and I'm like, oh, maybe she will.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
she'll
it could
maybe she'll
quite
kill this
easily
because
have.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
So the tension still works.
I don't think Anissa turns up when Mark is on a date in the comics. She
I
definitely
don't
turns
think
up.
so
There's
either.
definitely the stuff with the cruise ship. All of that plays out, but I
Yeah,
think she just turns up. Like, I don't think
right.
that Mark she interrupts a date, and the threatening nature of that, so subtle, so like not like holding a gun to her head or anything like that, but just like, and it wasn't even like she was choking her. But the
No,
way that Amber describes it later on, it's like just having her hand on me. It was like an iron, like bar sort of thing, like just there, and that's scary. That's
right.
it's that level of power where it's like I don't need to come across as threatening right now. I'm telling you as it's fact. Like,
And
this is how
that's
this is going to go.
that's what's great about the second pass for Robert
Yeah,
Kirkman on the Invincible story, is like bringing these two storylines together, so that they can progress both of them, both
yeah,
Amber's story and Anissa's story, and it was really well done.
yep,
We it's been a couple weeks since we brought up the fact that Mark has to, like, acclimate Earth
yeah.
for a Viltrum
He's
takeover,
taken Nola's job. Like, he has to do Nola's job.
and she
Make
was
Earth
here to
ready
remind
for us.
him,
Yeah.
and it was a pretty bold statement.
They do
I,
not see Mark as the enemy at this point. Like, Mark is not their enemy. Mark is
yeah,
their emissary, and they see Mark's strength, and they're testing Mark. They're checking in on Mark. They say to Mark, "We are going to check in on you. Make progress." And
yeah.
here it's a case of like, he's not fighting back, so I guess that's a level of progress that they're okay with at the moment. But it's interesting, and it just keeps that looming threat of the Viltrumites
Yeah.
rolling.
I like that Mark knows that they can't kill him
Yeah,
because they need him.
yeah,
I like the fact that he has Cecil in his ear constantly, telling him
yeah,
what to do,
yeah.
and her telling Mark to also telling him what to
What to
do,
do? Yeah,
and he's able to just say no to both of them in the same breath. And I
yeah.
thought that was so well done. I love that he's got these two devils on his
It
shoulder,
is two
and
devils.
he's
That's the
like,
thing. It is,
no,
yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
no, I'm a good
yeah.
guy. I'm not
I'm
going to
gonna
do
do
it.
it my way. Yeah, yeah.
There's going to be a way. He's like, I'm going to figure it out. But there's like no way that he's just going to like do anything to hurt his
People.
planet.
Yeah,
Um, even with uh, Cecil saying, just agree with her now,
yeah.
and we'll
You don't
figure
like just
something out
lie to her.
later.
Basically, like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
yeah. But he can't even do that. He can't even
no,
bring himself to like say
he's a
the word.
paragon of virtue. Like,
Yeah,
he's Superman. He's always gonna do the right thing. It's
but he does know that Cecil will come up with something, and he's got the Guardians of the Globe behind him. So it's probably going to take a little while for them to heal, but he knows, like,
We'll get there.
he's looking this person in the eye and he's like, she's not going to kill me. She
Mhm.
needs me. So
He knows that
I'm
he's
not
given
going
the
to say
books
it.
to Alan. Like he's got
Yeah.
some plates spinning. He's
Yeah.
essentially he's vying for time here, and Cecil's vying for time when he says like just tell her yes, fine,
Talk to
whatever.
her. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Yeah, Mark, he can't do that, and
Yeah.
that would be the easy way out of it. But also, you got to think she would probably call bullshit. She knows what he's like. She's
Yeah.
been briefed.
Yeah. Yeah. Is I don't want to spoil anything. Is there a point in the comics where she tries to get Mark to have a baby with her? Am I misremembering that?
I don't want to
I
say
don't
anything.
remember.
There's some big stuff.
Oh, I remember now.
Yep.
Okay, strike it from the record. We don't know
Yep.
what's going to happen.
We do not know what's going to happen. I genuinely don't know what they're going to do in the show.
Are they going to do that in the show? I just remembered.
Yeah.
I got it wrong.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
That's season 4. If there's a season 4, season 3.
End of season 3, maybe season 4.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
I'd say that's the most fucked up thing that the comic does. Is up there. It's very, very high up there. Well, like, but again, sorry for the people who haven't read the books. Like,
Yeah,
go read the books. We're talking around something because we don't want to spoil it. It's something,
but it's also
on
a difficult thing to talk about.
Yeah, and I don't know how they'll do it.
Maybe they'll just do it. I feel like Prime. I feel like Amazon's in on the comic because
I think if they get to go long enough, they'll do it. I don't think they'll not do it. I don't think they'll skip over it.
Okay.
Because that has ramifications for the finale. Like that has ongoing, long running things. So we will see.
Yeah,
we will see. Yeah, go read the books, people. It's like
books.
This isn't.
I can't believe I
like
forgot.
This is still
details.
the same guy that wrote Walking Dead. So like, think about like when Walking Dead goes, "Oh fuck, you just did that," and it's like the most fucked up thing that you can think of.
But that's what I'm talking about.
This series also does do that.
But that's again the thing I'm saying is like it's a comic book. It's a comic book. It's a superhero book, and on the issues it says probably the greatest superhero book on the globe or whatever it says in the galaxy, the universe, whatever it says. So he very much treats it like a comic book. It's very bright, it's very colorful, but then like shit goes down and you're just like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
they're lulling me into this story and thinking how it's going to go, and then it doesn't.
But in the same way that like the X-Men are great because they're an analogy for minority people of any denomination, whether that's like race, sex, like anything, like whatever, however you want to see yourself in the X-Men. Like they've always been that since '63. They've been that, and Invincible does it, and Spider-Man's always been like he's had that. Invincible does that same thing where it's like there are stuff in there that yes, it's told in a superhero way, but it's analogous to real world things and real world shit that does happen that is fucked up and it's really dark and it's really horrible.
Yeah.
But this is a way of talking about it and sort of basically making these issues, addressing these issues that are real life things that happen that shouldn't be like glossed over. Yeah.
Right. I'm assuming it's going to be handled great. I think the way they're, if it was difficult the first time around for Kirkman to go into that stuff, into the darker stuff, this is a second chance, and he's got a writing team behind him, and they so far have figured things out. They've handled
a lot of things better than the books did because
like with grief, PTSD, everything that they've done with Rick and William and Debbie and even Mark. even
Yeah.
Mark,
And Amber,
family,
like giving Amber more
yeah,
agency. Like she's more of a developed character. Like there's
broken
so much.
family, found family, like it's all, yeah, it's all being handled really well. I feel like some of the stuff in this episode, um, especially with Donald and Rick,
Yeah.
it's good for kids to see that. And I know this show is, has an adult rating on it, but kids are sneaking out to see it. Like I
Teenagers at
snuck out to see
least. Like
R-rated. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so it's great
It's
to
like
have those kind
anyone
of
who's watching
messages
The
in there.
Boys is watching this, and I feel like there's a lot of like younger people, like
Yeah.
teenagers and stuff, who are watching The Boys.
But hearing Donald say like he hates his body, like
Yeah,
I know body issues and body
dysmorphia.
stuff is
Yeah,
something that's really prevalent now. And
mm,
so the fact that you know Kirkman found an opportunity to expand on Donald's story, to expand on Rick, to show like both sides, to show like a kid struggling with themselves and showing an adult who's has the same struggle. It shows that
yeah.
it's
Even the
stuff has
normalizing of
been
William
bad.
being gay, like it's like
Yeah,
we talked about it in season one. Like in the books, there's jokes about William when William comes out to Mark in that, and there's a joke about it and everything like that, and it's handled in a very 2004 way. Well, I don't
yeah,
think it was ever meant like in an
mean
insulting way,
spirited. Yeah,
and never. But it was unfortunately the times that it was. Now people are a lot more accepting and a lot more open, and it's it now. It's just like in the first episode, Mark's best friend is a gay kid, William. Like, fine, that's
yeah,
absolutely fine. No one ever bats an eyelid at it. Even the bully kid at school, like, there's no. It's like, all
yeah,
right, whatever, because it's a second pass and it's a modernization. It's an update to
yeah,
what already existed, and we're
yeah.
getting that across the board. So it makes me well, excited might be the wrong word, but it makes me really intrigued to see how they handle some of this stuff going forward if they get to it. And
Right,
I think they will. Otherwise, they probably could have
right.
used other characters in other
And,
situations.
and there's a few storylines coming up uh, that do deal with harsher things like abortion and rape and uh, this destruction of a major city
Yeah,
in the United States. And it's like it does the fantastical, like the problems like facing the world, like global catastrophe, and then just like stuff that people go through on a day-to-day basis. It's the basis for Spider-Man, where he can't
absolutely.
pay Aunt May's rent, so he needs to get a job, but he also has the responsibility of being Spider-Man. But this
And
is like,
it's
hey, listen, Spider-Man doesn't tackle this kind of stuff. Spider-Man didn't never had to tackle like divorce.
no,
Yeah,
well,
he did deal with
yeah,
grief,
yeah, yeah,
and that's what made him Spider-Man. But
yep.
it's like if I had Invincible when I was a teenager, it would have helped me through some stuff for sure,
Absolutely. I think so
for sure.
completely. And I'm glad that it's there for people. And you
Yeah,
talking about those, it's like the more human stuff and okay, like some city destruction and stuff like that. It's you see destruction and we've seen it through Eve's point of view as well, where she takes all of this stuff very seriously. And when she is seeing a park destroyed, it is way worse for her than a building coming down in
yeah,
whatever fight, like, or all of the destruction that happened with Mark and Omni Man. It's brutal, it's harsh, and like he's getting pushed through trains and stuff like that. But then when you see someone grieving and you get a personal character, a character that we've got to know, and you see it from their point of view, or the ramifications on that level, it hits so much harder. And all of the some of the things that you mentioned there that do come up in this series, they are the moments that hit and they have such a bigger impact.
yeah.
And it's a testament to the creative team of the books. And so far, the show is doing it just as well. And I can only imagine that when they get to some of that stuff as well, because the ones that you mentioned in particular,
Mm,
I think they have to hit because they are what makes this series special,
Mhm.
because not just in a gross out, oh my god, that's so messed up way, but in a, oh wow, they're handling this and they are tackling these big issues and they're doing it with class.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see them doing it. I could see them
I
pulling
can.
all this stuff off. It's since Debbie, I think since Debbie, they're going to be able to like go in and do some of these things.
Yeah.
Um, we
We
get
talked
to
around, like,
return.
I'm looking through a couple of my notes and we sort of talked around them in that discussion, which I think was a really good discussion just there. And it was
Yeah,
things like Amber's trauma and the way that she is,
yeah,
like, what she has to go through and her feeling that. And it's they were kind of on their way to breaking up, I think, anyway. They were having a nice
right.
date night, but they were on their way to breaking up probably. And it was that thing with Anissa where that was the impetus. It's like she doesn't she can't be in a
Yeah,
relationship with Mark because she knows that she'll always be a threat and that he'll always have to try and protect her if that comes
yeah.
up.
One of the
Um,
first things she says is, "How does she know me? How does she know
who I
who
am.
we are?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like she knows she's not safe as long as she's with Mark. Mark knows she's not safe as long as they're together, and they don't want each other to like go away.
Or to
Um,
be in danger. Like Mark, the
yeah,
safest thing that he can do, the thing that is the most caring thing that he can do is not be with Amber. It's
yeah,
like it's again, it comes back to Spider-Man. This is always like Kirkman's always said, like this is Spider-Man was his biggest influence in this book. But
mm,
that's the reason that hell they do it in the movies, in the latest movies. The safest thing that Peter can do is to wipe himself from existence because
yeah,
then he's not putting anyone in danger because people are always going to come to get him through his biggest weaknesses, and that's the people that he cares for.
yeah, yeah.
If they don't
With
have
the
superpowers to protect themselves, then
yeah,
yeah,
so everything seems dire when it comes to Anissa, but there's a glimmer of hope because Alan shows up uh seemingly by accident is happens to be in the vastness of space in the
yeah,
lane in which this ship is traveling.
yep,
uh
very comic
and
book. You love to see it.
yeah, he knew what he was doing.
He knew
He
what he
knew
was doing.
exactly where to go. um
As soon as he took that punch, that first punch as well, like he was like, okay, cool.
the plan
I
is
can take
working. Yeah,
I
yeah,
can take him now. Like, and I think he could have easily won that fight. He threw it. We see that he's awake
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's into it. This is what he wanted. He wanted to put on a show. He wanted to make it like show them, hey, he's stronger now. Make them want to keep him alive as opposed to
Mhm.
just going full kill. Um, and then yeah, he's getting himself captured.
Yep, he's going to be on the same ship as Nolan. I
Yep.
cannot wait to see these two break out of this fucking place. It's going to be awesome.
So
I'd like to see who else is in there.
we enjoy the Alan and Mark friendship. It's great and it
Yeah,
comes in early. The Alan and Nolan friendship is just as good, if not better, I'd
yeah,
say. And seeing
yeah,
these two have scenes together is going to be a treat.
yeah. I can't wait. Um, Alan's the best.
Yeah,
I love
he was
Alan
in
the
the
most.
books. He was in the books, and he is in the show. Like, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
miracle. What Seth Rogen is doing with him is excellent.
yeah,
It's so pitch perfect.
yeah. Stevie says she doesn't understand the drama of the robot body stuff. I feel like I'd be okay getting a robot body and continuing my life. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard because I think with both Donald and Rick, their robot bodies are because they went through an insane trauma. They
Yeah,
went through like
it's
they're
not.
having nightmares.
It wasn't an elective surgery. It was a
Yeah, I like they
let's
didn't like
put
die in their
back.
sleep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but I think it is PTSD, and I don't think I would have a problem with a robot body.
yeah.
Oh, Stevie's
Um,
behind and commenting on the past. That's fine.
yeah.
That's fine.
All right. Everyone's behind if they're watching this later.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah. Jeremy agrees that Alan and Nolan is definitely the better friendship. I love those two together. Um,
yeah,
it's great. I can't wait to see it.
yeah. And then
Uh,
Angstrom.
Angstrom's there as well. Angstrom is back. He's got Debbie and Oliver held hostage. He's waiting for Mark to get home. That's how that plays out as well, I believe, in the books.
Yeah.
I think
And again,
we've
the only
teased with it a few issues. Like there's an orb or something watching from the garden. Then like he comes home or he gets a call and Angstrom's there in the dark, like lit by just like the phone light and things like that.
The thing is, Cecil should know this is going down.
Yeah.
He's got a full plate.
Preoccupied, yeah, that's it. He can only do so much.
Yeah. So again, looking at the trailer, there was some stuff in this episode that I forgot was in the trailer, but I think we actually have only that one shot of the caped Invincible that we haven't seen yet. So I'm assuming that's next week.
Yeah.
Is that the final shot of the season?
Could be.
Invincible, the cake looking down upon somebody else.
I think we're gonna see a lot of different. We're gonna get a lot of different marks next week. I think. I don't know if they'll resolve it. I don't know if they'll do it all in one episode. But we're gonna have to.
I mean, they've been playing like they could pack a lot into an episode.
I mean, we said the same thing last week. Last year, sorry, last season, not last year. Last season, and they did all of the Nolan stuff there. Yeah, it was a similar sort of cliffhanger into the finale, and then the way it ended.
Yeah.
Predictions for next week is Mark stranded somewhere on his own, like with no way of getting back.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna ditch him in a different universe or something.
Okay,
that'd be fun. That'd be interesting.
Prison Break. Gonna get that.
Yeah, we'll probably get that. Maybe that's the stinger, the post credits.
I think the dude with the Krieg.
Craig. Yeah, Craig.
I don't remember him from the comics that much.
Oh, General Craig. He's definitely in there. Yeah. He's not. I think he's elevated. I think they've elevated his character to like a more of a position of power in this.
Yeah,
but he's definitely exists. And this, I
stopped my reread.
There was definitely a tease of Conquest.
Right.
She says like someone at blah blah blah. Like basically, the next person who comes to do your check-in is not gonna be like I am. He's not gonna be forgiving or watching or listening to you. He's just gonna come, and if you don't have results, he's gonna lay some conquest, and that's who we're gonna get next season. I feel like maybe we get Conquest quite early next season.
Yeah, I'm trying
within to think. Within the first 4 episodes, I'm gonna say.
Invincible War next week. Next season, Viltrumite War.
End of
season. Speeding up? We speeding along?
If they had 3 seasons, then they knew they were definitely going to get 3 with a potential for 4. Then I think Viltrumite War would be a good place to get to.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get Invincible War. Mark has to go meet the Coalition of Planets.
There's so much.
That then builds to Viltrumite War. Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Bulletproof.
Go.
You think we're gonna do Bulletproof? I
don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think we get Mark in the blue suit this season? I'm not sure now.
I mean,
we're gonna see the blue suit, but I don't know.
It looks like there's one chunk. There's one chunk of stuff left of like, in the cracks.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I think it's a cliffhanger. I think it's it ends this season. Maybe we get a release date for season 3 and or coming.
But we continue with Invincible War.
Invincible War continues on into 3 because they knew that they were getting a season 3, so they could leave it open.
That's right. I know. Yeah.
Whereas they had to close up with last season because that could have been it. That could have been all of it.
I kind of am hoping like the cliffhanger is we see the beginning of the Invincible War.
Okay.
I don't know.
They do so much in these like what 50-minute episodes. The like Who knows?
This
Who
is
knows?
this is only the 15th episode of the series.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So much. They're 40
Or
plus.
16th if you count the Adam Eve.
Yeah. They're 50 plus, I'd say 40, 50 issues of the comic in. That's basically
So
a
like a
third.
third?
Yeah. 6 seasons?
6 seasons? Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You could do it in
Oh
5, I
shit. Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
6 seasons in a movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
5 in a movie? I'm fine with
No,
that.
I'll take 6 in a movie. 6 in a movie sounds good because if this is
Yeah,
where
there's a
we are
hashtag
at
for
the
it.
end of the second season,
Yeah.
I mean, let's do it. I think after this, they announce the date of season 3. When season 3 is done, they announce season 4, 5, and 6.
Done.
I think they're just gonna be
do
like, "Fuck it,
bang.
yeah,
We're doing it. We're finishing it out.
yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
It seems like the show is popular.
It does.
I mean,
People are certainly talking about it.
I have a log. I know I'm logged into Amazon, but every time I go to Amazon, it's like top of the thing,
Right there.
Invincible.
Yeah.
So,
And I think there are people are being critical of this back half of this season, but everyone sort of prefaces it with we still love this show. This show is still amazing. But whereas I think everyone just thought it was a miracle last season and the beginning of this
Yeah.
season, they're like, holy shit, this show, because it came out of nowhere for them because they weren't expecting it. Whereas
Right.
we were expecting it. Whereas now they preface it with the show's amazing, but which is fine. That's fair. Like you're allowed to have
Yeah.
criticisms. That's absolutely good. And I think that's the thing. The stuff that I'm seeing people say about this show is mostly constructive stuff. It's not this show sucks. Why is it got black women in it? Like why is there a gay character? It's woke. Like, well, it's not the
Yeah.
trolly internet. It's
Yeah.
more constructive. It's more like, yeah, it's good. And people are talking about it. Every like podcast is talking about Invincible, and that is always a
Yeah.
good sign because it's definitely permeating. It's out there, which
Yeah.
it's great. Love it. Invincible is amazing.
And also, it means that people are excited and are anxious to see what's coming.
Yeah.
And so, you know, people are just like hyped up. You know, it's the difference. Like people have to remember, like the difference between watching a show weekly and binging one is you want the satisfaction of getting the whole story all at once, but
you want to talk about it too.
Yeah, just hang tight.
It.
We'll get there.
I love it.
We have less than a week.
Yeah.
We have less than a week, and we're going to have the finale of season 2 already, which has been just great.
Yeah,
you know, because you think about it, you know, the first 4, you know, we're still considered the season, and there's like crazy stuff that happened in there.
And people will have waited to watch the whole thing all at once when this is dropped. So, like after next week,
right.
there could easily be an upswing of viewers of the whole season, and they won't have the same criticisms because a lot of the people's complaints were like because of that wait, that 2-3 month wait in between, it was like feels disjointed.
And again, I don't really get physical media anymore. I just don't have the room.
Yeah, same.
But I would totally get like a steel book of season 1 and 2 of Invincible just because I just enjoy the show so much.
Yeah.
Enjoy it so
with
much.
A nice new Otley cover or something. That'd be cool.
Something, yeah. Corey Walker could do the first season, and Otley could do the second. You know,
front and back.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a Corey Walker shout out. The nuclear lab that Rex was at was Walker something or other. Like, that's Corey Walker. Like, yeah, just little art jokes.
Poster at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it was Godzilla poster. I noticed that one too.
Some seance.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the Invincible cosplayers and things like that. That was fun.
Yeah, with the camera shutter and it's saying Invincible.
Yeah,
but yeah, just a couple more cracks.
We're nearly there. Blue suit.
I mean,
Blue suit. Beginning of season 3. I think. Maybe it's teased. Maybe Art's making it. I don't know how they'll squeeze it in, but I trust in the show. I trust in the show to do it, and I can't wait for next week. Season finale next week. Next Thursday, we will be back to talk about it.
And then hopefully it won't be too much longer before we get to talk about it again.
Yeah.
because I'm very much looking forward to season 3. Yeah, in 1 week from today, we'll be back at our regular time at 9 o'clock Pacific
Yes.
time. Your time change catches up with us, so
Yep.
we'll
We
be
will
up a little
be
bit
back. It'll
earlier.
be 5 p.m. GMT or British summer time. It will be then. Yeah.
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 So join us next week for another episode of